We see a continent that's moving into a new century with decidedly new modes of operation, new social values, changing cultural norms, political activity. Some of the fastest growing economies in the world today are in Africa. I mean, this is not something we even dreamed we'd talk about in our lifetimes. The African Media Initiative came out of an idea, which was to rethink the role of media in a transforming and emerging Africa. In this first phase, we've essentially put our structures in place and helped in jump-starting programs around technology and content production, around this critical issue of leadership and ethics within the media. We have engaged with media operators across the continent. We organize annually the largest gathering of media leaders from across the continent. Now we're moving into a second phase, and there are going to be some significant changes in our strategy to address the problems that media in Africa face. There's such a wide gap between media content and the development agendas of most of our countries. How do we narrow that gap is the challenge. How do we find ideas that would inform what's going on in agriculture, in energy, in security, in infrastructure, in technology, and so on? The first pillar around which we're building our strategy for doing this is ZIMEO. We are concerned about the industry in ZIMEO. Whether you're a reporter, or you're an editor, or you're a newspaper owner, or a radio station owner, belonging to that club allows you to contribute, to a pool of ideas, into how we strengthen the industry. There are going to be various levels of membership to whom we would provide everything from training to participation in conferences, program production, ideas, engaging in all kinds of thought processes on how we unleash the power of media. The AMLF would become the ultimate meeting point of all the members. So new ideas can now be pursued all year round rather than during the 2 days of the AMLF. The second pillar of our strategy is the service pillar. We're reaching out to the public and the private sector. We're reaching out to the key players in our African economies to generate the resources and the knowledge needed to train a critical mass of journalists and provide specialization within the sector to ensure that those that have been trained provide the services for which they've been trained. We will establish networks of journalists around specific themes and monitor those networks. We cannot stand away from the key actors of the economy and expect to survive. And we need to structure that to ensure that there is a healthy exchange based on quality information, quality access, and a deeper understanding of what each other's role is. ZIMEO and the media service pillar are at the level of ideas. The fact is, nothing exists at the continental level that brings these ideas together. The African Media Cooperative is essentially that platform. Television and radio stations would be called upon to give us an hour of time a week, newspapers 2 or 3 pages a week, and if we agree on broadcasting a regional program at the same time across Africa on radio, adapting that same content to television and broadcasting it at the same time across the continent, and a day or two later putting out that content on print and ultimately on the web, I think we'll finally be able to say that Africans are sharing experiences. Africans are cross-fertilizing. Africans are talking to each other. People are beginning to see Africa from a much broader perspective. And again, this speaks to the transformative power of media. In Africa's transition now, what we don't see is the participation of the ordinary African in this grand design that's happening. And we believe that the fundamental role of media is to help Africa find its place in this global concert of nations. If we don't use media in all its component parts to achieve that transformation, Africa might miss a historic opportunity to transform in the right direction.